Oh, would you look at the time?
Don't leave yet, Daniel. We still have the campus edge.
Do you use military time?
No, but I know about it.
Well, reporter Raichle Sperry talks about the different types of time. It can be pretty confusing.
Hello, I'm Raichle Sperry here with Raichle Sperry to talk to you about Zulu time. That's right, in this segment we'll talk about what Zulu time is, how to read Zulu time in Kansas, and where you can use Zulu time. You might be wondering, what is Zulu time? Well, Zulu time, also known as Lima or UTC, is the official reference for the time of day. That's right, clocks synchronized to UTC display the same second and normally the same minute. The hour refers to the hour at the prime meridian, which passes through Greenwich, England. However, since UTC is used internationally, it ignores local conventions like time zones and daylight savings time. To read UTC in Kansas, we'll take the example on screen of 22, 17, 24, where 22 is the hour, 17 is the minute, and 24 is the second. To be able to read the hour, you'll subtract 12 to get 10 p.m., making it read 10, 17, 24. Remember, when reading UTC, it is based out of Greenwich, England, not El Dorado, Kansas, which means the time will not match what's on your watch. The best places to use UTC is if you are a college student doing software development or running a server for multiple people to access. You will use UTC for the standard timestamp code in the database. You can also use it for communicating with other people on the other side of the world, if you are doing a class science experiment or if you're doing research projects. You can also use it in your local radio station for keeping track with people you set out to do sports events. That way, you both are talking about the same time even if you're in different time zones. So whether you're coding, coordinating across time zones, or just curious about how the world keeps time in sync, Zulu time is a simple but powerful tool. Exactly. Once you understand how it works, it becomes much easier to communicate clearly and avoid confusion no matter where you are. We hope this helps you better understand what Zulu time is, how to read it here in Kansas, and where you might use it in your daily life. So, see you next time.
I didn't know time could be expressed in so many ways.
I agree. Our next story takes a longer look at time.
Reporter Evan Sinclair shows us the history and different ways time can be measured with calendars.
Hi, I'm Evan Sinclair, and today I would like to tell you about the different calendars that are used around the world. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to talk about every single calendar, so we'll be going over the 7 major ones. First up is the one you're most likely familiar with, the Gregorian calendar. It serves one major purpose, and that's keeping years consistent over time. Next up is the Julian calendar, which introduced the leap year. But wait, you may be saying to yourself, doesn't that mean that the Julian calendar is the one we use? Because I do leap years. Well, there is one major difference, and it's one that none of you have likely been around long enough to observe. The Gregorian calendar actually skips leap day some years. What years, you may be asking? That's simple. Centennial years that aren't divisible by 400. So the last year that leap day was skipped was 1900. Now that we've cleared that up, the next calendar is the Chinese lunar calendar, which, unlike the last two, which were both solar calendars, the Chinese lunar calendar is lunisolar, meaning that it uses the position of both the sun and the moon. This calendar is mostly used for holidays now, since, like most of the world, modern China uses the Gregorian calendar. In fact, the next 2 calendars are in a similar position, as both the Jewish and Hindu calendars are lunisolar and used for religious and holiday purposes. The Islamic calendar is also used for these purposes. However, unlike the other calendars, it is not lunisolar, but instead just lunar, using exclusively the moon. The last calendar we're going to talk about today is the Persian calendar, which is actually the most accurate calendar. However, it is only used by 2 countries officially, those being Iran and Afghanistan. Anyways, I've been Evan Sinclair with the Campus Edge, signing off.
Our show will resume after these possibly life-saving messages.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Hey Andrew, Passover's coming up. You know what that means?
No, I don't know much about Passover.
Well, reporter Matthew Rice did a report on the Passover meal. It's filled with facts that the average person may not know.
Bring it on.
Hi, this is Matthew Rice for Campus Edge. Today, Pastor James Rice at Smith Center, Kansas, will speak with you a little on the history and tradition of the Jewish Seder Passover meal.
Hi, I'm Pastor Jim Rice. I serve two United Methodist churches in Smith Center and Mankato, Kansas. A Seder meal is traditionally part of the Jewish community and faith, and it partly remembers back to the book of Exodus when the people of Israel were held captive or slaves in Egypt, and God rescued from that. So it is a memory and it is a meal which involves many parts to it. Some parts of it, for example, would be the matzah bread, which is the most common, which is an unleavened bread to which represents the haste to which they left when the plagues were over, or the moror, which is bitter herbs or horseradish, that which represents the symbolizing the bitterness of slavery which they experienced, or the haroset, which is a sweet paste of fruit which represents the mortar used by the slaves, or even the karpas, which is a green vegetable, usually parsley, which is dipped in salt to represent the tears of the people, or the zorah, which is a roasted shank bone symbolizing the ancient Paschal lamb offering, and then of course the beltzar, a roasted hard-boiled egg, which represented the festival of the sacrifice. Other elements that oftentimes would be involved in there would be cups of wine that people would take along during the evening. It would be an evening of eating and drinking wine. There's prayers, there's blessing, but mostly it is memory about the history of these people and how God had delivered them and how fortunate they are in the time. And so I just thank you for letting me share this with you a little bit, and I hope you enjoyed what I had to offer.
Well, Daniel, do you know what else is coming up?
Summer?
Well, yes, but I'm actually excited for the Oscars.
Oh, well, in our next video, I believe you presented your own Oscar predictions.
This world already left you for dead. I can save you from your fate.
Sinners.
You don't need no dream of yours doesn't work out.
That doesn't even enter my consciousness.
Marty Supreme.
Maybe it should. I know my family see things.
What do you see?
Hammered. These movies and more appeared in this year's Oscars. I had some bets of my own on what would win in some of this year's categories. In the Best Picture category, I was putting my money on Sinners, but thought the Academy would go with One Battle After Another because of the political nature and the quality of the film's production. And I was right, the Academy did go with One Battle After Another. For Best Actor, I was hoping for Michael B. Jordan, and he did in fact win. This was well deserved since he played two twin characters in the movie, and each had unique qualities and stood on their own as well. For the Best Actress category, I was rooting for Emma Stone to win this category back to back. But the Academy went with Jessie Buckley. which was very well deserved for her role in Hamnet. There were no huge upsets in this year's awards except for Marty Supreme for not winning a single Oscar, though they were nominated for 9 awards. But I don't necessarily think that means Marty Supreme was a bad movie. What I think this was due to was the nature of how good the movies were this year. There was some serious competition for Marty Supreme to be up against, and it is no shame to lose to those movies. This has been Andrew Wiele with Campus Edge.
Before our final videos, we have some safety tips for everyone to heed.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Daniel, dirty or clean room?
Dirty.
Well, here's some advice from reporter Kallahan Mielenz for you.
College life. It gets busy, huh? With friends, homework, classes. You don't have enough time to do things that you need to do, like clean or organize your space. Well, luckily, I've come up with an easy 5-step process so you can clean up your space in no time. Step 1. Separate items into piles. Put a pile for clothes, a pile for trash, and a pile for any other miscellaneous items you may find. Step 2. Put any trash you find into a bag and set it to the side. Step 3. Sort your clothes. Make a pile of anything that needs to be washed and hang up and fold everything you have left over. Step 4. Declutter. This is the step where you put away all the miscellaneous items you may have found. And finally, Step 5. Organize and clean your surfaces. Put everything you have in order and make your space look nice. Take out the trash, wipe down furniture, sweep, or even make your bed. By following these 5 steps, I was able to make my space go from this to this, and now you can too. I'm Kallahan Mielenz with the Campus Edge. Happy spring cleaning, everyone!
Cleaning is very important.
Yes, it is, and it's weirdly associated with spring.
Yeah, that is a little strange. At least our next video by reporter Peter Harrison is about real spring animals.
My name is reporter Peter Harrison, and today I'm in a park. And we are going to look around this park and see what animals reside in it, and I'm going to give you some fun facts about each of these animals.
Across the North American continent lives the eastern cottontail rabbit. Commonly found in our own backyards, this rabbit can be identified by its brown and gray fur, with a brown spot found on the back of their neck. These solitary herbivores prefer to move only short distances and can even stay still for up to 15 minutes. They don't build their own burrows, but instead find some natural shelter under brush or other natural places. When scared, they run in a zigzag pattern and can be up to 18 miles per hour. Across the eastern side of the U.S. lives the eastern gray squirrel. The eastern gray squirrel rocks a gray or black color of fur, with their belly being white. Their tails are bushy and used for maintaining balance as they leap through the air. This omnivorous species of squirrel can run up to 16 miles per hour and can live up to 20 years of age. This species is aggressive and alert, ready to run at any given moment. They are a species that hoards food and has a few methods of communication, such as low-pitched squeaks or tail movements. The American robin lives throughout the entire American continent and even in other continents. This species can be recognized from its reddish-orange belly, black back, and yellow beak. These creatures are omnivorous, consuming small bugs along with fruits and berries. These birds are primarily foragers who get their food and nest materials from foraging off the ground and especially freshly mowed and sprinkled lawns. They have loud, high-pitched chirps that start at dawn and can commonly be heard before and after storms.
What a cute video.
It sure was. You can check out past episodes on our YouTube channel at Arktos Moving Images.
We're excited for more episodes later this year, so keep watching. The Campus Edge.